More examples. How do we translate from mathematical into English when it comes to universal and existential quantifiers? Example. Suppose we have the following example. It says, for any x in R, the reals x squared is larger than equal to 0. So let's write this down a little bit more clear. What's the meaning of that? You can translate this into every real number has a non-negative square. Every real number has a non-negative square. So if I give you a question on the exam and I ask you, translate every real number has a non-negative square, you're going to write it mathematically this way. You might say that, hey, any real number has a non-negative square, or you might say that the square of any real number is non-negative. Or the square of any real number is non-negative. Another example for you. B. There exists a positive integer such that m squared is m. How do we translate this? There is a positive integer such that whose square is equal to itself. So there is, guys, note that the difference between every for quantifiers, universal quantifier, and there is for existential quantifier. There is or there exists a positive integer whose square is equal to itself. Is equal to itself. So this is the translation of an existential statement, and here you have the translation of a universal statement. Again, note that if you have the English statement, you can convert it back into the quantified statement as on the left-hand side. Note that when you have a conditional statement, note a conditional statement P then Q is a universal statement. So if you have P then Q in the world of predicate, you can write it this way. For any x in the given domain, Px implies Qx. Any conditional statement can be written as a universal statement. So the quantifier that you're going to use is universal quantifier. For example, for every real number, x in R, if x is larger than 2, then x squared is larger than 4. So how do we translate this? The translation can be written this way. If a real number is greater than, larger than 2, then its square is larger than 4. You saw these in algebra, in pre-calculus. Now you're learning how to officially write these in mathematical language.